What is happening, everybody? Thanks for checking out today's video. Today we're going to be taking this Polygon Siskiu T7 out here on the trails. We're going to be putting it to the test, seeing what it's made out of, seeing how these components actually react and how well they actually perform, to give you a good reference if you're going to be looking to purchase this bike in the future. Guys, if you like videos like this, please hit that like button. Also subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you. The only mods I've done to this bike are just cosmetic. I've done the pedals. We upgraded to some needle bearing pedals. We put a fender on the front and some grips, and that is it. Everything else on this bike is completely stock the way it came out of the box. All right, so it's not going to be changing the performance at all. And just to give you a reference, I did set the rear shock to 25% sag and the front fork to 35% sag. I'm 5'9", 185 pounds, and this is what works well for me. All right, guys, let's dive into this video and show you how well this thing performs out here on the trails. All right, there she is. This thing is looking good this morning. And man, are we gonna put this thing to the test. We got the GoPro all ready to go. We're gonna be giving some behind the bar footage. And this thing just looks sick, I will tell you. That color scheme, when I was buying this bike initially from the online store, I didn't know how well I was gonna like the color scheme, but man, having it here in person, this thing is just awesome. And I don't know, I just love it. It goes very well with just about everything, and it stands out. Because if you want to stand out, this bike is for you, I promise. Very bright colors. All right, guys, let's get it. We'll go up some of this techie stuff. So this thing does not have that much pedal bog, and I think it's because of that one-piece pivot joint in the back. It really helps with no pedal bog. You know, if you have a two-piece linkage, sometimes you tend to have some pedal bog in the back. And these squabbly tires are just digging in. All right, let's drop that dropper post. Oh yeah, straight down that techie stuff. Woo. Just playing around, hit that dropper post up. This thing does pretty great. You know, not all dropper posts really actuate that fast. So when you get one that does, it's pretty good. Just going over some of this techie terrain. I don't know how steep this actually looks on camera, but it's pretty steep. Not have that much pedal bog, and I think it's because of that one-piece pivot joint in the back. So this bike does give you the option to actually lock out the rear shock. Just the twist of this knob. So right here's full lockout, and that's fully open. Up here on the fork, it's kind of the same way. Fully like this is your fork's completely locked out. Open, you know, it's completely open. This thing works pretty good. Even the pedaling efficiency with that rear shock just left open is not bad. I didn't even have it closed out when I was going up that hill. It was completely open. So this does have 150 mils of travel in this front fork. Look at that, it's pretty usable too. And this is at 35% sag. With this one-piece pivot joint, actually applying enough force to actually make it actuate that much, but you can tell right there on that shock housing, it's going down the shock tube a little bit, how much it's actually working. This Rockshox Deluxe rear shock works really good. I have no complaints, as well as the Rockshox Recon fork up front. This thing, I'm loving it so far. All right, show you how well this dropper post actually works. I think it works pretty good. Good enough for me anyway. This one is made by TransX. See right there, Trans-X. Digging in. Yeah, this suspension just rolls over stuff very easily. Whew. Oh yeah. Whew. A little squirrely right there. This does have the 4-piston calipers up front, the 2-piston in the back. And so far, these Tektros are working how I would want them to work. See how the pedaling is up through here. Oh man, it's steep. Digging in. There we go. Get some ruts right here. Oh shoot. The rut was a little bit deeper than I thought. Oh. All right. Deep washouts right here. Really trying to get back on the bike. You know, that is one cool thing about this 27.5-inch wheel is I can really get back on this thing and that wheel is not going to hit me in the butt. I'm trying to feather these brakes. All right. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that, they just go through the gears really quick, and if you need to downshift, you can do 3 gears at once. So that really gets it down. So if you're about to go up a big incline, you can really downshift quick if you need to. And this thing does have the through axles front and rear, and that is just a great feature that, once again, not every bike in the $2,000 range had. They still had those quick release axles, which I have broke a ton of those things over the years, mainly not because of the axle, mainly because of the way the hub was. But nonetheless, still, I don't like them as good as a through axle. Let's check out the gearing on this thing. Now, from Bikes Online, they say they ship ready to go right out of the box with perfect shifting, and I will say for the most part that's true, but I did have to adjust the little barrel adjustment on the shifter up here a little bit to tighten the cable just a touch, and that did help some. All right, with this 1x12 cassette in the back with the single chain ring up front, this thing offers you plenty of gearing options for going down most stuff, up most stuff. Brakes, you saw some clips from the trail, but let's try out the rear brake right now. And you can see I have to stop from trying to lock this thing up. They work that good. Okay, so let's talk tires. These Schwable Hans Dampf tires, these do come in a 2.6, which I think is a perfect match for this bike with that boost spacing, and with the overall mindset of being a trail bike. This thing really does help out this bike perform. Offers a lot of grip. You saw the clips for me going up those steep inclines. I'm talking, they are steep, and this thing is just digging in. So what do I think about the handlebars You know, the handlebars for me, I think are perfect. They're 780 mils in width. They don't have much of a rise to them, just a slight rise. And, you know, they feel solid to be, you know, the Entity brand, which is kind of a lower end, honestly, in the quality. I took the grips off, and even the bar ends look a little cheap and thin, but honestly, they're not too bad. They could be a lot worse. And the green accents make it look cool. You know, down the road, I may swap these out for something better. But for now, you know, they're lightweight and they're holding up for now. You know, maybe one crash into it will, you know, put them to the test and we'll see from there. But yeah, they're working now. But I guess for the price of this bike, being one of the most inexpensive full suspension bikes that you can get that actually has solid components on it, this isn't some mongoose or Schwinn bike, but this thing actually performs and does come with some pretty good components, like this Trans-X dropper post butted up to this Entity saddle. Yeah, it just works, and I'm not going to replace it as of yet. Now, the pedals that come on this bike are not these Fukers. These are those Chester race face copies, and these are just a needle bearing pedal. And I do strongly suggest, you know, maybe upgrading pedals in the future, but the ones that come on this bike aren't bad. They are an aluminum alloy pedal that do have these screw-in studs. So they do work, they are gonna perform, but they're not as smooth as something that you could get like these Fukers or the Chesters. And that's just to name a few. There's a ton of them out there. Now, one awesome feature I like about this bike is this stem. This thing is very short. The handlebar is right butted up next to the steerer tube there. And I really like this. I like the bars to be as close to that steerer tube as possible. And it just works for a good all-around trail bike. And this stem works really good with these handlebars. Haven't had any complaints, haven't had anything slip. And I have torqued these down to the specifications in that owner's manual. And so far it's been working. This FSA headset right here is really smooth, and I haven't had any creaking or anything. I know other people said that this thing was creaking really bad out on the trails, but I haven't experienced that. The creaking you may hear right there, that's just the brakes. But overall, this headset seems very solid and haven't had any play in it, no wiggle, and I really like it so far. Okay, let's talk about this head tube angle. This head tube angle, and this is one of the reasons I bought this bike. As a full suspension bike goes, there's not a lot of options out there that are relatively inexpensive, that have a head tube angle like this that is slack enough to be a good all-around trail bike. This bike has that slack head tube angle, and I really like that for the downhill stuff. It really keeps your bike stabilized at those higher speeds. It really gets that front wheel out in front, and it works great for that. As far as slow stuff though, this thing is like driving a dump truck. This thing, you could not let go of the bars and pedal free-handed with this bike. I mean, these things are just gonna turn because the wheel's so far out in front that, you know, it doesn't have anything holding it up. Usually if you have a bike that has, you know, a very upright head tube angle, that wheel can stay straight and it's gonna hold itself in line. This thing, you could tell just at slow speeds. So this rear derailleur is really nice. It has the lockout feature to where you can stiffen this up if you need to. And see, that right there is in its loose, non-locked out position. And you can imagine that would have some chain slap if I was in a higher gear. But we can actually flip this little switch and this thing stiffens up to where you almost can't even move it. And that's gonna eliminate that chain slap if you're out on the trails going down some of these rocky inclines and things like that, or doing some jumps. This thing isn't gonna be slapping like crazy. Okay, in closing here, I hope this review, ride, test, whatever you want to call it, gave you a little bit of insight of what this bike can actually do. I don't think you can get a better bike sub $2,000 than this bike right here as far as the price goes and the features that you actually get with this bike. And before I purchased this bike, I did weigh in a bunch of different options. We had all kinds of other bikes, and I'm not going to mention, but around the same $2,000 price tag. But some of them had more cons than this one did versus the pros. So I just went ahead and went with this Polygon Siskiu, and I think it is just an awesome purchase. I love the Tektro brakes. Yeah, the Shimano MT201s would have been nice, but I'm really surprised with these Tektro Orions, and they work. The bars, not complaining there. I really love the stem. Now, the fork is amazing. I love this Rockshox Recon fork. It really works well. And with the 27.5-inch wheel size, you do get 150 mils of travel up front here, which is perfect. As far as the wheels and the tires go, cannot complain there, even though these are double wall alloy wheels. But these Schwalbe tires and these 2.6 are just phenomenal. I love these things. Been putting them to the test. They're just awesome. The Recon Deluxe Select Plus rear shock works phenomenal. I am a big fan of this thing with that true lockout. It's really nice. The Shimano gear set and crankset all the way around the whole drivetrain just works really great. I love the threaded bottom bracket right there, and it does have the hollow design bottom bracket, so it's going to reduce weight. And this thing just looks great. But I am super stoked that I have this bike, and you know, I strongly suggest purchasing this bike if you're looking for a $2,000 full suspension bike. This thing is just going to be right up your alley if you're looking to get a nice trail bike. Look at that slack head tube angle. Like, this thing is way out there in front. Very nice setup on this bike. All right, guys, if you like this video, please help me out on the channel by hitting the like button. Also subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. We're going to be doing a lot of different ride videos on this Siskiu, also upgrade videos. And if you're looking to purchase one and want to know how to put it together, also head over to my channel page to see how to put this thing together. It's very simple, and you can also do it on your own, and it doesn't take that much time. Okay, thanks for watching the video, and I'll catch you guys later.